Kenya's President William Ruto has asked African Union member states to cede certain powers to the continental bloc as part of the reforms required to make the African Union function better. He proposed this radical idea while addressing a summit of the Common Market for East and Southern Africa, also known as Comesa, in the Zambian capital Lusaka on Thursday. To Ruto, African countries ceding more power to the African Union is crucial for better negotiation as a collective and have a common stance on key world issues to be just like, or even better than the European Union. He urged the audience to consider African Union changes a priority, warning that without such sacrifices, the continental bloc's objectives, including Agenda 2063 and mantras like African solutions for African problems, will never be realized.
As we go forward, we will be making additional interventions. We will be making additional steps. We are considering as AU, as heads of state, a mechanism where we can improve on the mechanism of the Africa Union so that Africa Union can speak on certain matters for all of us as a continent. We can negotiate better if, as a continent, we can negotiate together. We should be able to negotiate together on matters trade. This is one area that countries must surrender some of its issues to the Africa Union the way the EU have done. We can do better than the EU. We can do better than other trading blocs. We have made the conscious decision that we want this continent to be the single trading market with a population by 2050 of 2.5 billion people and a GDP of $3.5 trillion. That commitment will unlock the tremendous potential that we have in this continent. And I am a great believer that the policymakers, the heads of state, will be able to provide the mechanism for us to be able to realize that great potential that exists in our continent.
There were no immediate indications that this suggestion would gain traction, even though other African leaders have frequently agreed the bloc needed to be restructured. If the plan to transfer these powers is approved, it will be similar to the European Union, which traditionally negotiates trade and global security issues together. The European Union, for example, has been negotiating trade treaties with the East African Community, which Europe wants to ratify as a union as well. The European Union also has a foreign policy and security chief. Although each country has its own foreign minister, the European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy normally speaks for the bloc as the bloc's top diplomat. The European Union has generally condemned Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The African Union, on the other hand, has been unable to unify members around a common perspective. Discussions about African Union reforms began in 2016 when Rwandan President Paul Kagame was appointed to push reforms. After examining the African Union's processes with a team of 9 other experts he led, they identified 19 areas for improvement, including narrowing priorities, having a clear division of roles between its structures, making the African Union Commission more efficient and effective, strengthening the African Union's current sanctions regime, improving decision-making, and having sustainable financing. The Reforms Advisory Team concluded that in order to realize the ambitions of Agenda 2063 and to ensure an impactful and effective manner in delivering on its mandate, the African Union needs to reposition itself and ensure it has the requisite institutional capacity and capabilities given the evolving economic, political, and social needs of the continent, their report stated. Therefore, Dr. Ruto is basically reiterating what many other experts have said before. He also spoke generally on trade and other development issues, which the African Union should be leading but lacks capacity, something he had recently suggested at a speech to the Pan-African Parliament in Pretoria. To ensure that the African Union performs at the level of its aspirations, it will be necessary to make sure that it empowers itself with sufficient capacity. Otherwise, African Solutions, Agenda 2063, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, and the young, clean green continent of the future will never be a reality, he said. The African Union reform agenda must, therefore, be a priority, and we must interrogate and conduct the process to ensure that structurally the roles of the Bureau, summits, committees, regional caucuses, secretariat, and commission are duly rationalized to give Africa a fit-for-purpose continental governance body with the capacity to engage globally, he further added. President Ruto concluded his speech by calling on African countries to act together on matters of peace and security, or the continent will remain a continent of insecurity and war, with reference to the ongoing battles in Sudan and DR Congo.
We must also act together on matters of peace and security. It is not possible that this continent shall continue to be a place of conflict and war. What is going on in Sudan is unacceptable. What is going on in DRC is unacceptable. We must be able to work together so that we do not destroy our infrastructure, we do not destroy our resources, and we harness the full potential of the African young people for them to make progress, not make war.
So, what do you think of today's video? Do you agree with President Ruto's comments about the need for African countries to cede more power to the African Union body to make it as strong as or even better than the European Union? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. And as always, do subscribe to the New Africa channel for more interesting future videos.